Alrighty, what's good, chat? Took a trip to Colorado last week, so didn't. I don't think I traded. Did I take a single trade last week? I don't even know. Missed out on like two A plus setups. Yeah, I was kind of just enjoying myself on the trip, so it wasn't really too locked in on the markets. But really good week, an undefeated week. There's a few discretional plays, and then there's just a few really good A plus setups. So gonna be going over that. It's actually a pretty short week because we have Independence Day on Friday, so it's a bank holiday. You can clearly see the market looks like complete dog shit. Look at this, no fucking volume. Yeah, just get right into it. So let me actually take this to 9:30, just before market open. All right, before market open, the one thing I can see, the number one thing I see here is, let me get all the nonsense out the way. Well, for starters, we have a bunch of low resistance right here, just a bunch of stacked liquidity here, and then we have this buy side target all the way up here. So really, I'm not gonna try and chase anything else unless I see like good manipulation. But what I really ideally want to see is probably a continuation long towards this buy side. I'm expecting that to get ran through before we dump lower here. That's just what I would kind of be expecting, but just waiting for price to develop and for structure to develop is something I'd personally wait for. We do have this 5 minute that we can use as a condition, so if we do want to blast higher all the way up to here, we should blast through this. I use that word wrong. We should blast through this 5 minute if we want to run high, right? So yeah, we'll just see what happens. Pretty much all that happens is price runs lower. Is this the day we give a 30-second? Yeah, okay, so we do give a Judas swing, a 30-second Judas swing entry model here. It's invalid to me in my opinion, just because for one, we have a pretty abnormally large wick and it hit the break-even point. I think we're also inside like a 5 minute or something, but this looks really good. Okay, yeah, we have that 1 minute. That could have very well, because dude, yes, it looked really good and it's a Judas swing. We did tap into a pretty good level. We swept London low. We have imbalance to back it up and everything, but well, we do still have higher time frame and low resistance here, so that's something you gotta kind of look out for. And then just, I've seen so many plays where we'll give a setup like this and then it would just completely fucking fail because we have this utter, oh my goodness, I don't even know what to call that. Is that stuttering or just mispronouncing words? That was fucking horrible. We have this other 30-second. We also have a 1 minute here. We have a 2 minute, 3 minute. Not even gonna bother checking the 4 minute because I know it's gonna lag. We even have a 5 minute. So we tap into all these. We tap into the 5 minute. It would have been really nice if we didn't tap the 5 minute. Maybe the other gaps I could have dealt with that, but tapping into the 5 minute, yeah, it's just pretty invalid and dangerous. But what do you know? That shit played out. Well, actually, it did not. That shit did not. Well, technically it did, but final TP got edged, which would have been, well, I guess it could have just been this recent high, but we had this previous day Asia high over here, right? We failed to hit that, so we ended up dumping lower. Now, are we going to necessarily look for shorts? I wouldn't say so. This is a pretty shit trade. For one, your target is a protected low. We just had a Judas swing off open to this London low. We also didn't manipulate into anything besides taking out this level. We left this high open, right? We made basically relatively equal highs with that high, so there's nothing to take here. We're just waiting patiently. This is a more better play than that first one, even though there's really no confluence behind it. We just pull back, I guess, into discount of this range, and the target is just not good RR, but it's a good discretional play. You can hold that and hopefully it runs up higher to maybe 1-to-1 or whatever. But yeah, once we hit Asia high, we start chopping up. We make it clear for Valley Gap here, give a nice 1 minute IFVG. Now this isn't necessarily an entry that I personally like, just because it's way too high up. There's not enough structure to show me that we're bearish. I do like that we inversed not one but two gaps in one candle, so that's a really good sign there. Let me take this other position to out. Yeah, this would have been a really nice trade. We do tap into a 5 minute BPR, right? This huge leg 5 minute BPR, but on the 15 minute, there's really not much to it. Okay, and I don't want to take the first IFEG to the downside, expecting it to run all this low resistance. So that's why that 1 minute wasn't really valid to me. like what I really wanted to see was like I said was this buy side get hit before we run lower. So seeing the first 1 minute is not really the smartest choice. So I didn't really like that. We did end up giving a huge displacement candle lower, all right, which inversed this 2 minute right here. It's pretty tiny. We also had a 3 minute that you technically could have waited for right there, which ended up getting inverse a bit lower right there. But I mean, I think the 2 minute is pretty valid. We get a CISD as well. It's not the best CISD. All right, we do get a more clear one up here, obviously, but this one, I mean, it's still CISD. What the fuck am I talking about? That doesn't matter. Anyways, yeah, break even point I guess could be the swing low, which is kind of a really, I would expect price to retrace or tap into this 1 minute before pushing lower. So break even could have been, you know, after that happened, but we kind of just dump already. Ended up hitting this low here, and then targets, I guess. We have a lot of low resistance leading up to London low. Could have targeted that, which it fucking banged, of course. And then if you were targeting all this other low resistance, you would have got fucked because, yeah, we just generated even more low resistance. So really discretional play here. I wasn't even paying attention. I wasn't really looking for anything. I was just being patient for a key level to get hit, and then I noticed it later, and I was like, hey, you know, this is a pretty good setup. So collected data on it and everything. Reviewed it over here on this week recap. I think it's a pretty good play, a really good discretional play. Yes, this might be a protected low, but we did tap into another, not key level, but we tapped into another level, which sponsored this move here. And then we also have a pretty decent break-even point. And then the DOL is pretty obvious. If we're struggling to, you know, push past, get to this high, and then have a huge displacement candle like that, then yeah, it's pretty obvious we're going to gun towards the sell side, which we did. And after that, there's really nothing else. I tried to catch a continuation short off a 5 minute, but we just never traced back into it. So yeah, once that got hit, we reversed. I'm not really looking for longs here either. But I mean, hey, you could have caught a continuation long here maybe. I don't know. I personally don't like anything much here. It's already 11 a.m., so that's going to be it for that day. I spent way too much time on just one single day. I need to speed past these other ones. Alright, so this next one. Now, I'm just going to bring this to market open and briefly go over what I was thinking of. We do have this buy side up here. Alright, but we also have this huge move from yesterday. Alright, the low we made all the way up until today is like damn near 1,000 points. So what I was expecting was, since I saw that we had a bearish SMT with this high and then these highs up here, as you can see, ES took these highs out, also took that high out over there. So I didn't really care too much about the SMT. It was more as an extra confluence paired with the bearish structure that we have right here, running lower. So I was expecting price to give like a continuation short, take the sell side out, and try and just rebalance this leg here before we run up to this buy side. So that's really what my thought process was. Of course, I wasn't limiting myself to just strictly a bearish bias. I had a condition set in place. We had these 15 minutes, these 5 minutes as well, which I was going to use as my condition. Just simply wait and see what happens with those, and if we respect it, we respect it. If we don't, we don't, and that's going to be our condition. So off open, we just fucking bull run, bro. Not a single retracement whatsoever. This looks insane. So yeah, once we just blasted past those, I was like, okay, my bearish bias is done for the day. It's very clear we're going to be, you know, gunning towards this buy side up here. Let me mark that other buy side out as well. Alright, so that's going to be the target for the day. We did end up hitting the daily high right here. Alright, we hit that daily high, so that's no longer a target for us. And then I was looking for a retrace to target this high up here, but we never ended up getting it. We ended up sweeping this high. However, we only swept it by like a singular tick, like literally one tick. If I just do this, boom, up, like one tick, not even a point, just one tick. So I didn't count that as a real sweep. And I knew price is definitely going to want to run back up, and it's almost going to treat this as like equal highs, I would say, because it's like one tick is nothing, bro. You're not stopping anyone out with one singular tick. Like, it has to be like, you know what I mean? So I still have this as a valid DOL. Price retraced. We hit this 5 minute. Let me bring this back here. Let me delete this box too. All right, price at the 5 minute. We didn't have any 15-minute taps. Happened pretty early, and one thing I don't like about this play is that it's pretty high up in discount. Hold up, I'm getting a call. Alrighty. Where was I? Oh yeah. Okay, so pretty high up in discount. I would like to see an EQ get hit. Of course, it's not mandatory, but that's just something I wanted to take away from this. And then I would have liked a 1 minute entry here, or at least a 30 second, but we failed to give that. We did give a 30 second CISD here, which is pretty nice. But the entry in terms of an inverse fair value gap was going to be this 15 second, which was also paired up with that 30 second. So I'd say it's pretty valid. I don't like that we hit this internal high first, though. I would have liked if we left that open. But yeah, we gave this 30 second IFEG. Pretty good setup. If we play this out, ends up getting break even. We hit this high up here, this internal high. Come back down. It looks like we're gonna, run straight up to TP, but nope. Price had other plans. We started chopping, gets break even, and we just have a shit ton of low resistance formed above. And then boom, we get a huge displacement candle lower. We hit equilibrium of this range that we just put in from the low that but the low that manipulated into the 5 minute and the high that we have currently on this leg. That's that range we marked out. Hit equilibrium. We had a beautiful 15 second IFEG here, paired with this CISD right there and right down there. This was absolute perfection. And I was on the road when this happened. I was on the road to Colorado, and in the front seat, had my laptop out, wasn't really planning on trading. I saw this, and I don't know, it took too long to think about it, and I just ended up missing out on it. So that's my bad on my end. Stop loss is, you could have had it down here and just extended your TP to get that 1-to-1, or you could have had it at the bottom of this order block, bottom of the candle close, and aimed for the same target up here for around 1.3. Of course, it played out instantaneously within the 30 seconds, bro. This shit just fucking smacked. Oh my gosh, that foam was crazy. And then really after that, there's nothing else you can kind of target. All right, we just have a huge imbalance. We do have this 4-hour all the way up there. Maybe there's an hourly. I think there was, yeah. There's also an hourly you could look to target right there. Right. So you could have, extended TP to be even a little bit higher. And yeah, ends up running up, and then just chopping. But that's about it for this day. Let's just play it out and see what happens. Nothing but chop. Like, this price action does not look favorable at all. Alright, now on to the next day. We got 2 more days. Alright, this next play is pretty interesting. A fuck ton of low resistance up here on the buy side. Alright, we were in pretty bearish structure, so I'm not necessarily thinking of, automatically we're going to reverse and hit all this liquidity. I got to see, we got to look for key levels, right? And we kind of are in some key levels. We're inside this huge 4-hour, alright? We're inside of this hourly as well. So there's really not much sell side targets. We have to, like, if we're going to look for sell side, we're going to have to blast past these imbalances, and then we can look for a target down here, right? So we're kind of just waiting and being patient. Have a pretty good accumulation zone here. Off open, we do have like almost a Judas swing. We don't ever get the 30 second. Ends up just chopping up. We don't get shit, and then we just dump lower, right? So we dump lower, and we start stalling here. We start like not moving, going anywhere. We start chopping, huge wick fest. Now if we look at what we tapped into, we hit these BPRs here on the 15-minute. We also hit the BPRs on the 5-minute as well. Massive fucking candle right there. That's insane. We also hit a 30-minute BPR. Alright, multiple time frame BPRs. On the hourly, there's no fair value gap, but we do bounce back up into this one that we tapped in earlier, that we were already in, Same thing with the 4-hour here, and then we also hit this 4-hour order block. So there's a good amount of levels that we hit and can see clear rejection off of just very choppy price action. So I didn't like any longs here. I personally wanted a way to see this get reswept. Right, we just built low resistance right there. And then we do have a 1 minute here. Again, I don't like that because of the low resistance. We have a 2 minute. Again, same exact situation. We do end up giving a 3 minute, which I really don't like either at all right here. For one, because of the low resistance, but we're kind of just running away from that at that point. Like, it's not too much of a big deal. But if you go on the 5 minute, we still have this 5 minute that we're inside of, right? That we just recently closed inside of. So waiting for that 5 minute would have been nice. By the time we get the 5 minute, we generate equal highs at this premium 5 minute, which would have been our break-even point. All right, really, really good break-even point, the premium untapped 5 minute. We generate equal highs at, I was going to say at that. I was going to say high. Well, I guess it is a high on the lower time frame. But, yeah, once we do that, you could have entered off the 5 minute because at that moment, we inverse this 5 minute. So, targeting this high up here, you could have extended it just a bit more to this untapped 5 minute up here. And then stop loss, honestly, could have just been underneath this order block right there, right? Or you could have even put it lower because this gap has already been respected. There's no reason we should come lower, right? You could have done either or, just depending on how confident you are. I personally didn't really like this. Well, I liked the setup, and it was what I wanted to see. I was hoping for a better entry. I just really was fixated on resweeping this and then getting an entry model, but yeah. One thing that made this setup really good was the equal highs at the 5 minute being generated. That should have been like, all right, this is your cue to long the fuck out of this because we have a key level here that's more likely to get hit than this sell side, this low resistance down here, because look how close we are, right? And then also, one thing I also really, really liked about this setup was we had accumulation here, manipulation, right? And then we had just clear distribution. So this was a classic AMD model. This ends up playing out. Bang. All right. Edge of the break even here, and then just full TPs right there. But that's about it. I don't necessarily, I don't know. You could have aimed higher, but this is all I like because right here is just a fat ass fair value gap, and then price action also just looks really slow here. Not really delivering much. So yeah, that's that. Price ends up running lower. Yeah, a bunch of bullshit happened. So that's that. That's the only play that I saw that day. And then we have the final day, where there's an actual normal day, is Wednesday or Thursday, which is probably one of, I don't know which setup's the best. I think Tuesdays. Which one was Tuesdays? Tuesdays was probably the best looking because it was just the classic low resistance continuation model. This is on par with that though. I really like this setup. It was stacked with confluences. Now, the first thing that I saw on this day was, okay, it looks like we have a protected high. You can see we reject pretty heavily off this Asia high getting swept. We have essentially equal lows at this London low here, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about off rip. We do have a shit ton of low resistance above. Yeah, let's see the 4 hour. Rejecting, not off really anything, but we did bounce out of this 4 hour. So yeah, honestly, it's kind of difficult day to determine bias here. You just kind of scale through. The one thing I do see is on the daily, we inverse this gap up here, over here to the left, while also having a break of structure, a CISD. We had both of those, and then we rejected out of this bullish daily fair value gap right there, right? So overall, this is looking. Why the fuck do I keep stuttering? I think it's because my mouth is like, it's like really not dry, but I don't know. But yeah, we rejected out of this daily fair value gap right there. It looks like a very, very, like a classic fucking buy model right here, right? Inversion, break of structure, retest of the fair value gap, respect. That's really what it looks like. And then if we go to the 4 hour, also bouncing out of this huge 4 hour right there. Maybe delete some of this other stuff. And another thing is we're also delivering from EQ this massive range right here. And then we also have, of course, the other imbalances like the hourly. If we scale down lower, there's probably some more. But you get the gist of it. Overall, it looks like a pretty bullish setup that's forming on the higher time frame. Now, like I said, this looks like a protected high, so we kind of got to be careful on what price wants to do. We could reject lower off this high, or this just could be a random swing high being put in place. So we do have this 1 hour untapped gap down here that we can look forward to as being our condition. And off open, price immediately rips ass down and then has the fastest fucking reaction I've ever seen, giving this beautiful ass rejection wick here. Tapping the hourly, we have like some not super significant SMT, but I think it's with this low or this low, I forgot which one. But it's still an SMT, NQ sweeps that, ES does not, and that's that. We have 15-minute order block as well as a 15-minute fair value gap getting filled, getting retested there, and then the hourly on-top gap getting filled. So yeah, we also inversed this hourly over here to the left. Not really something I'm really paying attention to because we came all the way up here, but that's another thing I guess I can just point out. We also hit the 5-minute as well. There's really not much to go over. We hit EQ of the daily range though. There's multiple ranges we're looking at. We're looking at the a daily time frame range. We're looking at this this previous day range or this weekly range, whatever. And then we're also looking at this fucking range right here. So wait, is that the okay? That's the daily range we were talking about. And then I don't know what the fuck I was saying just now. I was just yapping. But yeah, we have this daily range right here that we hit OTE of that. And then we give some reaction off of that. We do have we have multiple imbalances. We have a 5-minute, which I would have waited for that. We have a 4-minute as well, 3-minute, 2-minute, 1-minute. The 1-minute I think is the only one that actually got inversed, but we still have this gap up there. But yeah, no entries there, no valid entries. And then we have a huge fucking dump here, right? Now what we did was, if you look here, we have this 5-minute rejection block right there. 5-minute rejection block. Okay. We hit OTE of that rejection block, and then we pump back up, giving this 1-minute IFUG to the upside, right? Really, really good entry here. Perfect. Like, this shit looks so fucking amazing. Oh my gosh. Now the targets for here, because this is a protected high, one thing that I really, really liked about this these targets here was we have low resistance right there. And then we have like a small accumulation zone right here. Right, a little accumulation zone. So that's kind of my targets. Wasn't really fixated on looking for this high just because it looked pretty protected. So this ends up getting break even depending on how you play off this internal high getting swept. Because the full low resistance has not been swept yet, I could see you as, or see myself, not you. I don't know why I'm talking in third person, but I could see myself as like not going break even here and just giving this room to breathe, just because we still have this final low resistance, which honestly kind of looks like a data wick. But yeah, just depends on how much conviction you have. Like I said, everything is lining up confluence wise. All right, we hit OT of this range, we hit the untapped hourly, other fair value gaps backing at the SMT, we have the draws above, we even have like a rejection block entry model here going on. So that's really, really good. Really like that. And then I guess if you missed that play or you got break even on it, there's still another play, right? We had this 5-minute that happened. All right, right up here we had this 5-minute. Stop loss would be underneath this low, because this low, I forgot to also mention, it also respected on this small leg that we put in the small time frame. We hit EQ of this leg and then pushed up, inversing that 5-minute, because this 1-minute that we entered off of, it had already tapped into the 5-minute. So that's technically, mechanically, you're supposed to wait for that 5-minute, but just because that setup was so good, of course, you don't have to always wait for the highest time frame inversions, just depending on the DOL and a lot of variables that play a part of it. So that was a really good setup, and since that failed or got break even, depending on how you played this, you could have taken a re-entry once the 5-minute fully got inversed. Why I like this a lot too is because this final high in the low resistance is still intact, right? We had yet to come up and sweep this. So it's still intact, great break-even point, and then you could have just targeted, this accumulation zone up there, just like the previous trade, and it ends up getting smacked, right? Pretty good trade. Once we make equal highs up here, I probably would have full TP'd, just because, it's more likely that price is going to retrace before giving another long to this to these equal highs. So that's something I would have been cautious of, but I pussied out on this trade. I guess it was because, again, I'm on vacation. I'm not really in the trading mindset. I'm coming off of fucking 6 hours of sleep. I had to wake up an hour earlier. Like, shit's just fried. But, no excuses. I should have definitely taken this. I had full conviction. I was ready to press buy, but I saw the wick get put in on the 5 minute. I just saw that wick get put in, and then I was like, I just decided not to take it. I don't know what the fuck was up with me. That shit never happens. I don't know why. I don't know what was wrong with my mentality and my mindset and everything that day. I was probably defeated. I was going on fucking hikes and shit all trip and going like 14,000 feet above sea level. So, pretty understandable, I guess. Should have just, I don't know. Maybe next time I just don't hop on the charts at all. But I feel like I feel more FOMO. I don't know. We'll figure that shit out. But yeah, that's pretty much about it. We do give another re-entry long here. Looks pretty textbook. But once we make equal highs at the break-even point, that's your sign to go break-even. All right. I don't like holding against equal highs because I'm anticipating the retest and then, the move back up. But we never even ended up hitting that and just going lower. So that's pretty much it for this. What's it called? This week. There's nothing that happened on Friday. So just to briefly go over everything. Let me see. Monday, discretional play, right? We have this market open Judas swing, invalid setup, failure to get higher towards this buy side, and then we get a huge displacement candle. And it looks like we're gunning towards all this low resistance here. And yeah, pretty decent discretional play. And then Tuesday, we have a really, really, really good setup here. Pretty high in premium. We get a 15-second continuation IFVG here off the 5 minute getting tapped. Flip and bias happened really, really quick, like within the first 5 minutes of market open, just because we started fucking blasting through all of those gaps. And then we had that high up here that didn't get hit. Well, it got hit by a single tick. So treat it as an equal high, got the continuation set up, ends up getting break even. And then we give another 15-second re-entry with perfect low resistance right there. Just all around, this is the best setup of the week, I would say. Very, very fucking obvious. Now, Wednesday. I like the classic AMD model, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. We tap into a good level. We hit multiple imbalances. We hit an order block. I think we hit, I don't know what else we hit. Yeah, we hit that. Got some nice rejection out of it, inverse the 5 minute, and we created and generated a very good target, an A plus break-even point, the untapped 5 minute paired with a set of equal highs, and yeah, pretty good play. Not the best delivery, looks pretty fucking horrible if you ask me, but yeah, it's a really good play, I would say. And then the last day, Thursday, very simple continuation setup, continuation X reversal. I guess it's a mixture of both. Tap the hourly, multiple fair value gaps backing it, hit equilibrium with the range, put in this 5 minute rejection wick, which gets tapped into. IFVG is the upside, low resistance above, and ends up being break even or win depending on how you played it. And then there's also this 5 minute re-entry that also played out. So pretty good week, I would say. Here's what Friday's looking like on the bank holiday. Absolute dog shit. I think the entirety of the session, the entirety of that session, we moved like fucking less than 100 points. So that's kind of wicked. But anyways, that's going to be it for this week recap. Really, 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 really good week. Didn't execute as much, but, it's kind of self-explanatory. I've been on vacation and shit. Wasn't really focused, so we'll lock in this week. Doing this week recap pretty late because I got back Sunday, and, yeah, it's Tuesday now. We did catch a banger-ass trade today, so I'm going to do a trade recap on that, and we'll see how the rest of this week goes. So that's it, and I'm out.